Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the foothills of a grand mountain range, there lived a man named Rajan. Rajan was burdened by the weight of his worries. He had lost his way in life, overwhelmed by the pressures of work, family, and the ever-increasing demands of the world around him. His mind was clouded with frustration, and his heart was heavy with sadness. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find peace. One day, unable to bear the turmoil any longer, Rajan heard of a wise sage who lived in a distant forest, a man known as Gautama Buddha. The villagers spoke of his serene presence and how he had guided many souls to the path of peace. Desperate for answers, Rajan decided to seek out the Buddha and ask for his guidance. Rajan set out on his journey early one morning. The path to Buddha's dwelling was not an easy one. It wound through dense forests, across rivers, and up steep hills. But Rajan was determined. With each step, he silently prayed that Buddha would have the answers he sought. As he walked, the forest around him seemed to echo his thoughts. The rustling of leaves whispered his worries, and the distant calls of birds sounded like his own cries for help. But still, he pressed on, holding on to the hope that peace was within his reach. After a long and arduous journey, Rajan finally reached the edge of a tranquil grove. There, under the shade of a magnificent Bodhi tree, sat Gautama Buddha, deep in meditation. His presence exuded a calm that seemed to melt away the chaos in the air. Rajan approached Buddha with a trembling heart. He bowed deeply, and with tears in his eyes he spoke, "O wise one, I am lost. My mind is restless, and my heart is heavy. I seek peace, but I cannot find it. Please guide me." Buddha opened his eyes and looked at Rajan with compassion. His gaze was gentle, yet it penetrated deep into Rajan's soul, seeing the pain that lay hidden beneath the surface. Buddha invited Rajan to sit beside him. "Tell me," my friend Buddha began, "what is it that troubles you so deeply?" Rajan poured out his heart, sharing all the worries that had plagued him for so long. He spoke of his fears, his failures, and his frustrations. Buddha listened patiently, nodding occasionally, but not interrupting. When Rajan had finished, Buddha smiled and said, "The root of your suffering lies not in the world around you, but within you. It is not the external circumstances that disturb your peace, but your attachment to them." Buddha then shared a parable with Rajan. Imagine you are holding a burning coal in your hand. The longer you hold it, the more it burns you. But if you choose to let it go, the pain will cease. Similarly, your suffering is like that burning coal. It is your attachment to the material world, to your desires, that causes your pain. If you learn to let go, you will find peace. Rajan listened intently, absorbing every word. He realized that he had been clinging to his worries and fears, allowing them to consume him. But now he understood that by letting go, he could free himself from the chains of his suffering. Buddha continued, "The mind is like a turbulent river. It flows with thoughts, emotions, and desires, pulling you in different directions. But if you learn to observe it without getting caught in its current, you can find stillness. This stillness is the essence of inner peace." Rajan closed his eyes and began to meditate, following Buddha's guidance. At first, his mind raced with thoughts, but slowly, as he focused on his breath, a sense of calm began to wash over him. The turbulent river of his mind started to settle, and in that stillness, he found a glimpse of the peace he had been searching for. Buddha's words resonated within him. He realized that peace was not something to be found outside, but something that could only be cultivated within. It was a state of mind, a choice to let go of the things that disturbed him and to embrace the present moment. As the sun began to set, Rajan felt a deep sense of gratitude towards Buddha. He bowed low before the wise sage and said, "Thank you, O Buddha, for showing me the path to peace. I will carry your teachings in my heart and practice them in my life." Buddha nodded with a serene smile and said, "Remember, peace is not a destination, but a journey. It is something you must cultivate every day through mindfulness, compassion, and the letting go of attachments." With these words, Rajan took his leave, feeling lighter and more at peace than he had in a long time. The journey back home was no longer a burden, for he now carried within him the light of Buddha's wisdom. When Rajan returned to his village, he was a changed man. The worries that had once weighed him down no longer had power over him. He had learned to let go, to observe his mind without getting caught in its current, and to live in the present moment. From that day forward, Rajan practiced Buddha's teachings diligently. He found that with time, the peace he had experienced under the Bodhi tree grew within him, filling every aspect of his life. He became a source of calm and wisdom for others in the village, who noticed the transformation in him and sought his guidance. Thus, Rajan's life became a living testament to the power of Buddha's teachings, and in helping himself, he also helped others find their way to peace. And so, the story of Rajan and Buddha's teachings spread far and wide, inspiring many to seek the path of inner peace. For in Buddha's wisdom, they found not just the answers to their own problems, but also a guide to living a life filled with compassion, mindfulness, and true contentment. As the sun set on the village, Rajan continued his meditation, knowing that the journey to peace was one that he would walk for the rest of his life, guided by the light of Buddha's teachings.